Chapter 5 of the Olive Fairy Book. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Joyce Martin. The Olive Fairy Book by Andrew Lang. Chapter 5. A Longbow Story. One day a bonilla, or banker, was walking along a country road when he overtook a farmer going in the same direction. Now the bonilla was very grasping, like most of his class, and was lamenting that he had had no chance of making any money that day, but at the sight of the man in front he brightened up wonderfully. "That is a piece of luck," he said to himself. "Let me see if this farmer is not good for something." And he hastened his steps. After they had bid one another good day very politely, the bonilla said to the farmer, "I was just thinking how dull I felt when I beheld you, but since we are going the same way, I shall find the road quite short in such agreeable company." "With all my heart," replied the farmer, "but what shall we talk about? A city man like you will not care to hear about cattle and crops." "Oh," said the bonilla, "I'll tell you what we will do. We will tell each other the wildest tale we can imagine, and he who first throws doubt on the other's story shall pay him 100 rupees." To this the farmer agreed, and begged the bonilla to begin, as he was the bigger man of the two, and privately he made up his mind that, however improbable it might be, nothing should induce him to hint that he did not believe in the bonilla's tale. Thus politely pressed, the great man started. "I was going along this road one day when I met a merchant traveling with a great train of camels laden with merchandise." "Very likely," murmured the farmer. "I've seen that kind of thing myself." "No less than 101 camels," continued the bonilla, "all tied together by their nose strings, nose to tail, and stretching along the road for almost half a mile." "Well?" said the farmer. "Well, a kite swooped down on the foremost camel and bore him off, struggling, into the air, and by reason of them all being tied together, the other 100 camels had to follow." "Amazing, the strength of that kite," said the farmer. "But, well, yes, doubtless, yes. Well, 101 camels, and what did he do with them?" "You doubt it?" demanded the bonilla. "Not a bit," said the farmer heartily. "Well," continued the bonilla, "it happened that the princess of a neighboring kingdom was sitting in her private garden, having her hair combed by her maid, and she was looking upward with her head thrown back, whilst the maid tugged away at the comb, when that wretched kite with its prey went soaring overhead, and, as luck would have it, the camels gave an extra kick just then. The kite lost its hold, and the whole 101 camels dropped right into the princess's left eye." "Poor thing," said the farmer. "It's so painful having anything in one's eye." "Well," said the bonilla, who was now warming to his task. "The princess shook her head and sprang up, clapping her hand on her eye. 'Oh dear!' she cried, 'I've got something in my eye, and how it does smart!'" "It always does," observed the farmer. "Perfectly true. Well, what did the poor thing do?" At the sound of her cries the maid came running to her assistance. "Let me look," said she, and with that she gave the princess's eyelid a twitch, and out came a camel, which the maid put in her pocket. "Ah!" grunted the farmer. "And then she just twisted up the corner of her headcloth and fished 100 more of them out of the princess's eye and popped them all into her pocket with the other." Here the bonilla gasped as one who is out of breath, but the farmer looked at him slowly. "Well?" said he. "I can't think of anything more now," replied the bonilla. "Besides, that is the end. What do you say to it?" "Wonderful," replied the farmer, "and no doubt perfectly true." "Well, it's your turn," said the bonilla. "I am so anxious to hear your story. I am sure it will be very interesting." "Yes, I think it will," answered the farmer, and he began. "My father was a very prosperous man. 5 cows he had, and 3 yoke of oxen, and half a dozen buffaloes, and goats in abundance. But of all his possessions the thing he loved best was a mare. A well-bred mare she was. Oh, a very fine mare. Yes, yes, interrupted the Bonilla. Get on. I'm getting on, said the farmer. Don't you hurry me. Well, one day, as luck would have it, he rode that mare to market with a torn saddle, which galled her so that when they got home she had a sore on her back as big as the palm of your hand. Yes, said the Bonilla impatiently. What next? It was June, said the farmer. And you know how in June the air is full of dust storms with rain at times. Well, the poor beast got dust in that wound, and what's more, with the dust some grains of wheat. And what with the dust and the heat and the wet, that wheat sprouted and began to grow. Wheat does when it gets a fair chance, said the Bonilla. Yes, and the next thing we knew was that there was a crop of wheat on that horse's back as big as anything you ever saw in a 100-acre field, and we had to hire 20 men to reap it. One generally has to hire extra hands for reaping, said the Bonilla. And we got 400 mouths of wheat off that mare's back, continued the farmer. A good crop, murmured the Bonilla. And your father, said the farmer, a poor wretch, with hardly enough to keep body and soul together. The Bonilla snorted, but was silent. Came to my father, and he said, putting his hands together as humble as could be. The Bonilla here flashed a furious glance at his companion, but bit his lips and held his peace. I haven't tasted food for a week. Oh, great master, let me have the loan of 16 mouths of wheat from your store, and I will repay you. Certainly, neighbor, answered my father. Take what you need and repay it as you can. Well, demanded the Bonilla with fury in his eye. Well, he took the wheat away with him, replied the farmer, but he never repaid it, and it's a debt to this day. Sometimes I wonder whether I should not go to law about it. Then the Bonilla began running his thumb quickly up and down the fingers of his right hand, and his lips moved in quick calculation. What is the matter? asked the farmer. The wheat is cheaper. I'll pay you for the wheat, said the Bonilla, with the calmness of despair, as he remembered that by his own arrangement he was bound to give the farmer 100 rupees. And to this day they say in those parts, when a man owes a debt, give me the money, or if not that, give me at least the wheat. This is from oral tradition. End of chapter 5, recording by Joyce Martin.